Blacks in Technology.
Blacks in Technology. Blacks in Technology. Blacks in Technology. Blacks in Technology. Blacks in Technology.
Welcome, everybody, to the 69th episode of the Blacks in Technology Bit Tech Talk podcast. If you'll see this as episode 69. We had episode 68 a couple of weeks ago with Sean Morrison, and we had some technical difficulties, and we actually have to, that podcast was number 68, and so it's not up on the site, but we're cleaning up the audio and things like that, and it'll go up soon. So if you see, if you're wondering, like, why is this 69 when there's only 67, that's why. 68 will be going up soon. I'm your host, Greg Greenlee. Don't have a co-host for this evening, so if this is your first time listening, you can check us out at www.blacksandtechnology.net. We are also on the Twitters at Black and Technology, and that's BLKINTECHNOLOGY. You can check us out on Facebook, Blacks and Technology, or Facebook.com/Blacks and Technology. And there's also a LinkedIn group if you want to join us there under Blacks and Technology. If you're on the Twitters right now, you have any questions for our guests, you can tweet them using the hashtag BitTechTalk, and we'll try and make sure we get your questions answered. So who are we? Who is Blacks in Technology? We are a tech-focused community and media organization. We're focused on increasing diversity in technology. We're always focusing on forming new partnership opportunities to assist our members with their continued professional growth and development. So if you want to partner with us, you can send us an email to partnerships@blacksandtechnology.net. We do have some new partnerships in the works right now, and one of them I'm actually going to announce here in a second. For any general inquiries, you can send us an email to info@blacksandtechnology.net. And if you want to sponsor one of our podcasts and get your business or your organization pushed out to our wide network, our wide audience, send us an email to sponsorship@blacksandtechnology.net. As far as announcements go, we are partnering with Self Conference. That is an IT conference in Detroit. It's going to be going on May 29th through the 30th. We're going to be partnering with them. We're the diversity sponsors for Self Conference. And what it is, it's a mix of tech presentations, insightful soft talks in Detroit, downtown Detroit, 2 whole days at the end of May. Talks about mobile, web, hardware, software, process, and team talks to help you expand your knowledge and meet other technically minded folk. They do have a call for papers right now, so Bit Community, if you are looking to speak at a technical conference, this is a good time to submit a talk. I think their call for papers is open. I think it's open until the 16th of February, I believe. Yeah, I think it's 16th of February. So Self-Conference, go check that out, selfconference.org, May 29th to the 30th. Blacks in Technology, we will be doing some great things at that conference. There's more to come on that here in the next couple of weeks. We'll put out an announcement on the blog and then, release some stuff on Twitter, and we'll let you know more about that. So we are still seeking a public relations and marketing person, somebody who wants to apply their academic knowledge to real-world writing, media relations, marketing, promotion scenarios, any and all that. If you are a skilled marketing person, shoot us an email. Contact us at blacksandtechnology.net. We are looking for someone like you. And so tonight we're going to be talking with an entrepreneur. Jibril, I don't want to butcher your name. I know I just asked. How do you pronounce your last name again? Sulaiman?
Sulaiman.
Yeah, I butchered it anyhow. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Jibril is a serial entrepreneur. He's the president of PaySales Systems. It's a technology company that specializes in solutions for the prepaid wireless industry. We are going to get into his background, and we're going to ask him some questions about entrepreneurship and this should be a good podcast. He's been an entrepreneur for quite some time, so he's going to share some of his insightful knowledge and wisdom with our audience. So thanks, Jibril, for joining us tonight.
Hey, Greg, I'm happy to be here. I mean, it's such a great thing in what you're doing. You know, I've recently launched my own Google Hangout show that deals with local issues in Pensacola, and I tell you, it's always great when someone provides someone else a platform to be able to express themselves and just talk about their story. And so as I do that for other people, I can greatly appreciate what you're doing for everyone in the tech community, for African Americans, for Black people.
I definitely appreciate that. Yeah, that's what it's all about. It's, you know, I tell people all the time, it's about giving that exposure and giving people a platform. Because if we don't do it, you know, who will? And if we let someone else do it, no telling on, you know, how they'll depict us or what. So it's always good that we take control and present ourselves in a manner that we want to see ourselves presented in. So.
Exactly. You hit the nail. I mean, you hit it right on the nail there. Exactly.
Excellent. So tell us about yourself. Give us a little bit about yourself, about your background in technology, where you're from.
Look, I'm from Pensacola, Florida. My wife picks on me about the little bit of country that I have in me, but anything else that's about me other than my actual accent, everything else is big city, moving fast, big ideas, and that's how I've lived the majority of my life. And a lot of that is fueled because I didn't want to be broke anymore. You know, I grew up in a situation where grew up in a trailer. My parents were divorced, but you know, my dad was still there, mom was still there, but still grew up in a very thrifty situation. And I wanted to not be in that situation anymore. And I used the gift that God blessed me with, which is my brain, to really figure out how to create something for myself. And a lot of it is just, it came out of hobby. You know, I tore apart my toys when I was younger. So I was big into electronics and so forth. And I love science. And so I love those things. And went to school, stayed here for school, stayed here in Pensacola, Florida, went to the University of West Florida. And there, that was my first exposure to learning how to grind. I posted a post on Facebook the other day. I remember I posted a post thanking UWF for providing me with a T1 line, a zip drive, and Napster. And everybody, if anybody's old enough to remember that out there, that's how you used to get it in for some people, you know, and burning CDs, and that was my first hustle, I would say. I was just selling candy at high school, I guess. So, but anyway, you know, I got into the cell phone business. So my background is really in cell phones. I've tried to grow myself as a expert in the wireless industry. That literally started out with the Nokia 5190, the old school Nokias with the antenna on it, and loading banners and loading ringtones until those phones were going out to the flea market and doing that. I met someone else that sold faceplates. I started selling faceplates. I met a guy that used to go through the dumpsters at the wireless stores and come to the flea market actually with phone parts. And so, considering the fact that I loved taking apart my toys when I was younger, it was a natural knack for me to take those phone parts and learn how to repair phones, and basically taught myself how to repair phones, brought those phones back to the flea market, sold them. That turned into a store. That turned into it turned into one store, shut that store down, had to reorganize. That was my first bout of failure, I would say, or dealing with family and business and all. Started up another store across the street. That store turned into 3 stores. Those 3 stores turned into close to $4 million in sales for 1 year. It also turned into a very popular wireless store where we were the only ones that were providing the services at the time of unlocking the repairs and all. We were so busy that our customers would call in over the phone to try to make a payment because they didn't feel like coming into the store, pulling a ticket, and having to be 3rd, 13th, 14th, 15th in line and coming in to make their payment. So that created an issue where we had our customers, I guess it kind of compounded the issue because they didn't want to wait in line, but our customer service reps were busy handling customers in the store, but also handling calls from customers who were trying to make a payment. So, it just convoluted the whole situation. So that led me into trying to figure out how to basically process these customers' payments that were calling in the same way that Sprint, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile does by dialing 611. So that really led up to that problem, and the solution that came from it turned into my technology company in 2011, which is Paystill Systems now. And so here we are today, 4 years later, a multi-million-dollar company, still learning how to grow it, still learning the rules of engagement in business and technology, and just really trying to grow my brand now, and I'm working on a new startup now as we speak as well.
Wow, you sound like a very, very busy person, but I also want to congratulate you on your success.
Thank you.
I think it's very important for people like you, because when you see out here in the media right now, when it comes to technology entrepreneurs and what does a technology entrepreneur look like, and the lack of Black technology entrepreneurs. So it's always great to hear someone who's actually out there doing it. And at the same time, it's kind of, I wish your story could be heard. Your stories like yours could be heard a lot more than what they're being heard right now, because I think it's important for the perception of who we are as a culture and as a people, and to let people know that, hey, we're in this space too, and we're out here competing as well. So
right,
and you on that.
Well, I do appreciate it. One of the things that the misconceptions there, of course, that's always been broken. And you have Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook. He went to a prestigious school, but he didn't graduate. Well, I like to kind of equate myself to that type of person where I love technology. I went to school for a few years. I didn't graduate. But one of the things that I learned from Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is that school it doesn't teach you how to build wealth. It teaches you how to critically think, and it develops that portion of being of your mind. So I think I absorbed that enough of school, of college to really learn how to critically think. And so that's what I'm definitely trying to take that and just apply it now. And I'm not a coder. I don't know how to code. I know how to read a little PHP, a little bit, a little CSS, a little bit, and all. But what I've been able to do is tie those bits and pieces together and tie that team together to be able to really get my ideal off the ground, and just networking as well. Networking is always important in being able to launch any ideal, and I think I've definitely been able to do that as well.
Definitely. I think those are all good points. When it comes to technology, it's such a broad career field, and that we don't all. Everyone doesn't have to be a coder, or everyone doesn't have to be an engineer. We need idea people. We need business people. We need people who can tie those two pieces together. So it's and I like to cover. I like to cover the spectrum. We do talk a lot about the ins and outs and the nitty gritty of IT here on our podcast at times, and even on our forums. But that portion of technology, we can't leave that out. We definitely have to include that because it's a part of the entire ecosystem. So, speaking of your time at University of West Florida, you majored in comp sci, but you left a few years to become an entrepreneur. So tell us what kind of motivated that decision, and looking back on it now, would you have made that same decision?
Well, I would, because right now I would probably be working in a job that I would not be happy with, because ultimately just my stomach wasn't for programming, and that Java class was really that Java class, or that Java language that my 13-year-old is learning right now, my butt. I couldn't get it, So at that particular point in time, I was already at the flea market growing my budding wireless business, and really a lot of the clientele out there, they knew me. Now that's the guy that can fix your phone, and he can fix the screen. And I was getting the parts from the guy that was going through the dumpsters, and I was taking those parts and selling them, and I was fixing phones, and I taught myself how to solder. So if you remember the old 5190s or the 5100 Nokias, it came with two boards inside, one for the motherboard, one for the screen. I would take the screen board out, put blue lights in them, put red lights in them, resell those boards, things like that. And so at that particular point in time also, I had my son, my 13-year-old now, my son's mother was pregnant, and, he was on the way. And so I had to really make a choice. Well, do I stay in school and work this job that it was a telemarketing job at the time, or do I go out here and get this money? and the money was there in cell phones at that particular point in time. So I could go to work and work at the flea market and earn in those 2 days what I would earn throughout the whole week working an $8 job part-time. So that was the thing. Now, would I tell anyone else to give up their education to be able to do the same thing that I did? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
You were kind of breaking up. Could you repeat that last phrase right there?
Oh, yeah. Would I tell the next person to give up their education and go out there and get that money like I did? It's a tough choice. And I want my son to go to school. I want my son to finish school. But also I want to embed in him at the same time that, it takes education and innovation. Those are the two things that you need to survive in this world, and also to be your own boss, to run a company, to start a business. Yeah. It takes education and innovation. What balance of that? Is it 70-30? Is it 50-50? I mean, that's relative to the person. And, I do sometimes some of the financial mistakes that I've made, I can say, well, I wish I had known more about finances, or maybe I should have tried to pass that managerial accounting class for the third time. But I learned through hard knocks of life about that managerial accounting. So, that's what led me to give up school and to go on. And I did. I went back to school back in 2009. Well, I went back in 2004. We had a hurricane down here in Pensacola, and that destroyed my apartment, my business that I had, that destroyed the business. So, I finished that semester, and that was it. I dropped back out again. Then I went back in 2009 and took another semester. At that time, Boost Mobile was just coming out with their National Unlimited plan, and we were booming. Oh, my God. We made so much money during that year and during that tax season that ultimately it's just I had made the choice again. We were getting too busy, and I couldn't go to school and handle a job at the same time and handle my son because I have my custody of my son. And so it's just I made that choice again to give up school. Would I do it again? Yes, I definitely would, because I've learned a lot of valuable experience. Will I tell the next person to do it? You have to make that decision for yourself.
Yeah, and I think that's what you said there is it's pretty important because people they always try to make it black and white, right? And you hear or you read blogs about should I go to school or should I go out there? And I think it's different for each person. It's kind of relative to your situation and that person and what that person's been through, and maybe school is the right environment for them. Maybe some people, like for me, for instance, I like school. I like being in class. That way of learning works for me, but that's not necessarily to say it works for the next person. And I think what people end up trying to do is they try to put this blanket over every situation, and say,
right,
yes, you should do this, and no, you shouldn't. And to me, it's never that black and white. I mean, life for one isn't that black and white, and especially when it comes to, should I be an entrepreneur and just go out there on my own, or should I, go to school, or should I quit my job and just and put myself out there? I think it's different for each person.
It definitely is. It definitely is. And, like I said, with my son, I want him to go to school, but I also want him to have the understanding of thinking outside the box. Don't allow that structure to structure your mindset into the thinking that, hey, the only way that I can earn a living is to go out here and work for someone else. Because one thing that I've learned, and I think one of your questions was going to touch on this, is, I'm a board member for the Gulf Coast African American Chamber of Commerce. And I became a board member in second quarter of 2014. That created an awakening, a black consciousness awakening within inside of me. And so since then, I've been trying to figure out, how can we improve the conditions of African Americans, especially in this city. And one of the things that I've adamantly grown to understand is that unemployment is tied to the number of African American businesses here, because next to the government, second to the government, black businesses are the employers of black people, and that's tied directly into the unemployment rate, and it's tied into so many things. And so, yes, I want my son to go out, create a business, so he can hire people, so he can be that next business owner. In addition to the education he's had, I want him to innovate, and that is so very important today, especially since we do have access to technology to help as an escape out of our conditions. And I use technology in a very primal way as far as dealing with cell phones and those StarTACs and the brick phones and all. That's when I started working on it first, as my escape out of my condition.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's not to say you can't even do both. That's like I said, it's not as black and white as that. Yeah, it's not as black and white, as that. It's not. You can go to school and you can be an entrepreneur after you get out of school as well.
Right.
So I mean, there's a ton of different avenues, and I definitely agree with you as far as technology being an opportunity for us to escape, right? And what I like to say is an opportunity is only as good as the person who can take advantage of it, right? So you have these opportunities out here, but what can you do with them? How can you take advantage of the opportunity? And I think that's where people like yourself, people like myself, we come into play, because we can show them how to take advantage of these opportunities that's presented in front of us. If that opportunity is just there, and people before us or people who are coming behind us don't know how to navigate and don't know how to take advantage of that opportunity, then that opportunity means absolutely nothing to them. But it can mean something to somebody else. But what I'm saying is, I'm grateful for the position that I'm in, and I know you probably feel the same way as well, that you're able to now show people and say, hey, I started a technology company. I use technology in order to better my condition and my surroundings and my environment, and you can do the same, and here's how you can do it.
Right. And that's exactly what it is. Why? Because I feel like that, I am that type of person that I do feel like the conditions of African Americans is set up in a way where the opportunities aren't completely there. I don't have an uncle that was already in this or has a legacy company that I can go to and necessarily get advice from. My dad did landscaping. He taught me the basic, and my mom did alteration. She's an alterationist, and so they taught me the basic concepts of having a business, but to go out there and ask for. I didn't have that available, and I say it now. Being in Pensacola, being in such a small town, I'm only one of two African Americans that have technology companies. And the other guy, he's a little bit older. He's like 50 or 60. And, so he's made his rounds around the city, and I've talked to him before too, but there's still a brick wall up as far as finding out the information I need, even for funding and things like that. So there's a lot of people like myself creating businesses.
You were breaking up some.
Okay. Well, I was saying that there's a brick wall up still that I feel like that's in this town that does not allow me to reach the access the information I need to get to that level of funding and things like that. That is, I would say, stunted my growth, but it's been experience. It's been a learning experience. So part of my mission now is to take and teach that next person who may be looking to start their own technology company. How do you find those investors? How do you reach those people? Well, you have to use the most powerful tool that's around, which is social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, things like that, to reach out to these individuals. And that's what I'm going through right now. Because for this next startup, I would like to create this. I would like to launch Spin Within as a funded startup, and so that's my mission now. And as soon as I figure that out, and as soon as I connect the dots, which I'm starting to do now, I'm going to teach that next person. I'm going to write some type of memoir about it. I'm going to vlog about it. And I'm going to make sure as many, especially African Americans, know how to follow that blueprint.
That's excellent. Yeah, it's definitely, all about giving back and making sure that next person's journey is that much easier coming up. So definitely applaud your efforts on that. So you call yourself a serial entrepreneur. So what do you consider? What do you consider a serial entrepreneur? And give us some of the qualities that you think are some of the qualities of an entrepreneur.
Well, when I first started out in the wireless business, I had a cousin that I would say that she was the smartest person other than myself outside of in our family, and even extended family, to the extent of people that we hung around. And she said, well, Jibril, it's good you're hustling out there. And I said, well, this is not a hustle. I have a business. I have a tax ID number. But the fact of the matter is that I was actually, it was still a hustle. But it's a mix between being a serial entrepreneur is mixing businesses and hustles together. You want those hustles to transform into businesses, and some do and some don't. So I ran a mixed CD store. I actually produced mixtapes. I shot music videos as a hustle. Once I found out about SMS keywords, I started an SMS, and I advertised online. I advertised on TV, on BT especially, this party hotline that is basically a party SMS hotline where you could subscribe to that hotline, text, P-Cola to whatever keyword it was at the time, and then I would sell that list to promoters so that they can send text messages out to that SMS list. So I did that for some time. I tried to start a promotions company, 365 Promotions. What else did I do? I was doing, and I cut my own radio commercials for my cell phone store. So, that's been a lot of different hustles that I've tried to do in order to really, a lot of it helped sustain my wireless store, but a lot of it was information that I absorbed and experiences that I had that were much needed in furthering my main bread and butter ideal or starting the next ideal after that. So I learned about text messaging and everything from learning the keyword line, but a lot of that turned into what I needed to know for pay sales systems for sending out text messages and dealing with SMS aggregators and things like that. So that's why I say that I'm a serial entrepreneur. Now I have the Pensacola Perspective, which is my local web show that I'm doing. I'm starting another startup here. I tried to create a startup last year, which was called Rap Features. Rap Features was a startup, and it's still alive. If you go to rapfeatures.com, you can register, and it's a site meant for basically a marketplace for buying and selling verses, where people could go and buy a verse, and the money will be uploaded to an escrow account, and then the money wouldn't be released until the reverse was done by whoever was actually completing the verse. So, that's me. What attributes does a serial entrepreneur have? They don't care about failure. I care about failure. I care about failure enough that I wouldn't do nothing crazy enough to jeopardize my family. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said you're breaking up. Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, I can. I'm sorry. I got half a signal. I'm not sure why I'm breaking up on my end, but what I was saying was that the attributes of a serial entrepreneur is somebody that don't care about the failure to the extent that that it doesn't prevent them from going into the next ideal. Of course, you don't want to jeopardize your livelihood, your family, your income. Mm-hmm. I have my 2 children, and I need to take care of my wife. I have bills to pay, but I'm constantly thinking of the next ideal. I'm in the shower. I'm on the toilet. I'm driving in the car, and I'm thinking of how to improve either the existing hustles or businesses that I want to create or that I have currently, or I'm thinking of how to create the next one, and I think that's one of the truest qualities of a serial entrepreneur.
Nice. Yeah, and that's one of the things that you constantly hear about entrepreneurs is, I guess when it comes to entrepreneurship, is fail and fail fast, right? So, you fail, you find out what you did wrong, and you tweak it, you make adjustments, make improvements, and do it better the next time, and hopefully that won't fail. But even if it does, you find out where you failed at there, and by the end of it, I guess you come out on top, and you have a fully working and profitable business.
And I have some of my best ideas when I do get pushed into a corner. The idea that I have right now with Spin Within, with this Black Amazon that I'm planning on launching, it actually came about. It came about because of basically trying to improve my current system, which is pay sales systems. So the product is called SellPay. But basically, just to give a brief overview, I've already explained that I created this system to basically mitigate facilitate actually the payments, prepaid wireless payments. But now, my current business model is, if it's Greg's Wireless, if you own a prepaid wireless store, then basically you want to make sure your customers are still coming back to you to make a payment, because you will earn $5 for each one of those payments that are made. But generally, in most cases, you're relying on those customers to walk back into the store to make a payment. But we provide you with a phone system, a virtual phone number, a local virtual phone number, a website, a mobile website, a mobile app. We provide you basically with this e-commerce suite of tools that you can provide to your customer. Now, when they can't make it back to the store, what are they going to do? They're going to call that phone number to make a payment. You're going to earn still a margin from that payment, or they're going to go online to do it. And so I'm basically empowering that prepaid wireless store with some tools that they would not have had in many years of developing it themselves. We have a patent on two different processes in the back end that allows us to load the airtime on and to validate the phone numbers. So one of the things so Greg's Wireless, the only thing you could, if one of your customers goes to your website, well, the only thing they could do is refill their account. Well, now I was trying to figure out how to provide you with a means to sell accessories from your site also, sell phones from your site as well. So that's when I thought of the idea of, putting a shopping cart into it. Well, I had a guy, one of my dealers, he went through some personal tragedy. His son is very sick, has cerebral palsy, and he almost died twice in December. And we were talking about that, and he said, Jibril, I don't even run my wireless store anymore. He said, because of pay sale systems and its service sale pay, I'm able to generate enough income that I can be by my son's side, in his time of need, and still be able to pay the bills. And that was powerful. And so for the last several months, I've been trying to figure out how can we solve some of the solutions for black business. And I had the business model right here in front of me, which is what I've been doing with Sell Pay and Pay Sell Systems, which is giving a technology to wireless dealers that they would not normally have had, and putting them basically in touch with this e-commerce machine that I've built out. Why can't I do the same thing for the black retailer? Why can't I provide them with this streamlined set of tools that are in place so that they can adequately provide a way for their customers to patronize them through Facebook, through a mobile app, through an online site, and so forth. And, I've seen that done already. I see the girls. I'm sorry, my phone beeped in there.
Oh, no problem.
I see the girls selling hair through the Blogspot site. They have an e-commerce mechanism built into it, and then there's a PayPal button there and so forth. But, we need something beautifully designed. It needs to be on an Amazon or eBay type of quality, but it needs to be built for the conscious shopper that wants to empower the black retailer. And that's what I want to bring to the forefront with Spin Within.
Nice. And what are you doing as far as like user research, and as far as so for one of the questions is, what are you doing for user research? Are you finding out, are you going through user research and finding out this is something that people want to use and will actually pay for?
Right. So here's one of the things that I dealt with when I first built out SellPay. It was something that I knew that I needed, but I had to partially develop the market behind it. And because I used social media to do that. Back in 2011, when I left running my wireless stores, when I gave up the ownership of those stores, I still wanted to be in touch with the wireless dealer. So what did I do? I created the first prepaid wireless dealer group. So if you type in on Facebook, prepaid wireless dealers, there's the first one that I started. It has about 1,600 members in it, but there are over 100 other dealer groups out there nowadays. But what that allowed me to do was talk to my target audience and help build out my product. Well, I instantly, when I created the video for the Black Enterprise pitch contest and that talked about my ideal and all, one of the things I did was I basically used social media to pitch. I used social media and the audiences out there. I pitched that video to them. So I created a dedicated campaign that's shown to anybody that's associated with one of the black business groups that are on Facebook right now. And there's the Buy Black groups, and there's the Black networking groups, and so forth. So these guys, there's about 35,000 user IDs that I have this video targeted to. Well, within the first 2 days, I had 15,000 views, hundreds of likes, nearly 1,000 shares on this video. and just the comments rolled in saying this is the greatest idea that I've heard in so long. We need this. We want this. And that's partial validation for what I'm trying to do. I'm not the only person that basically has thought that an idea like this is needed. So that's been that personal validation from the retailers that are out there that actually want to have a platform like this available.
Gotcha. And from what it sounds like to me is, I think I want to say Steve Jobs or basically said, consumers don't know what they want. I'm kind of paraphrasing. Until you give it. There's an echo. Is that echo coming from?
No, I don't hear it on my end. I just turned my phone out just in case it's coming from my phone.
Basically, kind of what he was saying is, consumers don't know everything they want until you kind of give it to them, right?
Right, and that happened with the iPhone. That happened with the iPod. They developed markets they developed the iTunes market. There was no market for digital purchases at that particular point in time, of music. So they developed that market, and that's exactly what I feel like that we have to do with the black retailer and the conscious consumer as well. And it's just there's a certain way that it needs to be done, but it needs to be done crowd-funded, crowd-sourced. It needs group interaction and building this out. And I think that it can definitely be done that way because that's the way I did with building out pay sale systems and sale pay. I took advice and I asked advice from the people in the groups, and I plan on continuing to do the exact same thing and beta testing this product from the stance of the black retailer. Now, Amazon has a solid model out there of how to create an e-commerce site, but there are some things that they are forgetting. They're not giving a personal touch to the retailer. If you go to a site, you try to buy something, you click on who's selling it. I mean, there's no sub URL hardly. There's no subdomain. That's what we provide to our SellPay users. It could be grexwireless.sellpay.us. Well, there's psychological implications on having a subdomain versus a sub URL in the site. Also, just having the personal touch, a banner, a picture, a picture of that black business owner on that page there, and so forth. If you visit, why that person is looking at the rest of those products and all. But also having a wide variety of products. There's one thing that we're basically guaranteeing with this site, that someone of African descent is going to be involved in either with the marketing, distribution, or supply of these products. Not to say that they're going to be involved with every process, because basically that's unrealistic. And so, we do have black manufacturers out here. But we have one guy. He asked me he posted on the video, and he said, "Well, there are no black retailers with cell phones out there." I'm thinking BS. I was a black retailer of cell phones. Of course, I was buying my phones from someone that could have been Asian, most likely Asian, Middle Eastern, or Caucasian. But ultimately, I was the one that was selling. So if you bought from my store, you were actually providing income to a black business. You were supporting a black business. So it's the same way. It could be someone that could be marketing products that could be sourced from someone of another ethnicity, but they are earning an income from sourcing those products and marketing those products to the site. And so that's a realistic view of it. We can't just be completely overtly black about it or anything like that. But the premise, the mission statement is to support the black retailer.
Gotcha. So you're also heavily involved in the economic development around Pensacola. You mentioned earlier you were named as a board member for the African American Chamber of Commerce there. So what types of problems are you working on? Are you helping to solve, and what are some of the initiatives that you're currently working on?
Well, I'm the only, like I said, it's two black people, two African Americans that are basically have their own technology companies here in Pensacola. So some of the initiatives that I'm taking with Spin Within are okay. We're back. Sorry about that. No problem.
Still there,
No problem at all. So,
Okay.
yeah, I'm here. So basically what I was saying, a lot of the pains that we experience here locally, I'm trying to create a national solution for using technology and leveraging technology to do that. But, we're 30% African Americans now here in Pensacola or greater Escambia County is, 400,000 people here, but, we're roughly about 26, 27% of the population. But when you look at the employment level, the graduation rate, when you look at the percentage of business owners, we own less businesses than Hispanics, than Asians, than white folks also. I mean, it's just, and that's some of the things that has been experienced even on a national level is here locally also. So we've been working with some of the initiatives that we've been working on have come from my love for technology. The young lady, her name is Nicole Dixon. She's the executive director of the program. Now, she actually used to work for me with my wireless stores. When she came on, I was one of the first people she asked to come on and provide change for the chamber, for that Chamber of Commerce. So some of the initiatives that we're working on now is creating an incubator program for all small businesses. Right now, there's currently an incubator program for technology companies, but we need an incubator program for all small businesses. And how can we provide the resources for that? Well, we can leverage technology for that also. We've talked about bringing in people from LinkedIn, connecting with people from Elance and so forth. Right now, I'm going to release a vlog tonight that talks about how I've gone on Elance to find someone to write a business plan for me for $1,000. Well, when a lot of people think that it takes thousands of dollars to write a business plan, sometimes you can find one for $500. But we want to bring those people into the picture to assist these businesses in being able to really grow, creating a business plan, having a solid bookkeeper, and so forth. Some of the just basically the essentials that are needed for any business. We want to be able to do that through an incubator program. Other than that, it's also just being that face there. A lot of times you go into an environment where there's no one like you, but you have to. So you're almost a representative of all African Americans, especially in this city here. So you have to carry yourself to be involved with the conversations, to interject yourself into the really meaningful conversations that are making this city turn, making the gears turn in this city, and that's what I'm trying to do as well.
Excellent. So what it sounds like to me is that I was having a conversation the other day and basically talking about this kind of generational knowledge that gets passed down from generation to generation, and how more common that is in the white cultures, and how
right.
they seem to do that, and how we kind of lack that, mainly because we don't have that generational knowledge to build upon, right? So what it sounds like to me is what you're doing is you actually taking your experiences as a black business owner, and you're kind of giving that knowledge to the next set of people, and so that they can have that knowledge and then be able to pass it on to whoever from there on out. And
not the next set of people, but the current set of people, the people that are operational today. We need to figure out how to empower those people and then pass it along to our children, to the next generations as well. But if there's a gap there, especially there's a technology gap between a lot of the individuals that especially a lot of the older African Americans that may be involved with organizations like the NAACP, or we have a local we call Movement for Change, or the Black Chambers and so forth. A lot of these people, they're all retired, and they have the ability, they have the free time to be part of the movement, to continue on with the movement that they probably have held their torch for many years now. But there's at many points a lack of younger people that have access to the technology and that understands technology to come in and to take their torch on. And so that's what I've been able to try to do in a local capacity. And I encourage anyone out there that's listening to find a way to interject themselves into either local politics or some type of local social movements that will help really push on the local initiatives that are going on in their cities. That you have to do that, especially if you have the free time. And that's why we need to be business owners. We need to be business owners, and not necessarily so we can have that passive income to go out there and be part of the politics of society without worrying about a 9-to-5, or without worrying about getting fired. I can tap off all day. I can run my mouth all day, and I do freely, because why? There's no one to fire me, and I can stir the flames. I can wave the flames, and I can create controversy, and I can create dialogue, and not worry about whether or not I'm going to get fired or reprimanded because I'm speaking out too much. Because there's a such thing as a black person speaking out too much, and we shouldn't worry about that. We shouldn't.
I feel that 100%, and that's it's really powerful and impactful what you just said. When people talk about why should I own my own business? Why should I take on that burden, that responsibility of owning a business? And sometimes it's not all about just the money that you gain from owning your business. It's also that freedom, that freedom to speak out, and that freedom to act,
right,
and that freedom to go out there and create the change that you actually want to see within your own community. Whereas you work in a 9-to-5, you might be afraid to be on that front line, right? And
you're
policies and things like that. So it's definitely.
I stated in one of the vlogs that I did the other day. I am being a business owner. This is one of the ways that we solve black-on-black crime. And one of the things I hear from conservatives all the time, I'm a Democrat, but one of the things I hear from the conservative side is, look, you guys need to work on how to solve black-on-black crime. Why y'all talking about white cops killing you guys? Y'all need to figure that out. Well, you know what? That is partially true. How do we do that? We need to do that through economic empowerment. I mean, that's one of the things. I'm taking it back to Marcus Garvey now. That rule, we've definitely, education is a big factor in that, where we have to have that economic empowerment, because Why? I have the passive income and I have the free time, even when I didn't have necessarily the free time or the passive income, but as a business owner for the last and not working for anybody since 2001, I would say, 2000, I've had the time to pay more attention to my son, to make sure my son is raised right. I have more time to participate in the community, but let me say it again, I have more time to pay attention to my son, that future, not the individual that's not going to be out there hopefully running around and acting a fool. As I've instilled enough common sense in him and knowledge to not be part of that problem that's out there, that problem element of our society. With more business owners, we will have more individuals that can participate in politics, participate in their families, and so forth. That's part of that economic empowerment, and that's part of that solution. So, yes, I feel like being able to empower black retailers to be able to earn more money and participate in their community, that's going to cause a ripple effect that's going to affect the entire African-American community as a whole.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I definitely wish you well on that endeavor. And when you get it launched, definitely let us know, and we're always willing to support and do what we can to get the word out there. So last but not least, before we get out of here, what's next? What's next for you?
Who knows? The Spin Within, I didn't know about Spin Within a month and a half ago. I was working on a solution for pay sale systems, but pay sale systems is still there. I'm running a multi-million-dollar company, but without that winning lottery ticket, which is a successful exit, I can't say that I'm a rich guy at all, close to it just yet. So I would love to have a successful exit of my technology of pay sale systems, so I can take some of those funds to dedicate to continuing to build out Spin Within or to find an investor for it, but also to create technology or accelerator-based initiatives here locally in my city. I would love to bring some type of accelerator program here locally to fuel innovation. I definitely want to be able to do that. So, I've grown into my philanthropic side. Before I didn't care about that, about philanthropy at all. I cared about making money, and I've grown out of that. I've definitely matured to that extent where I want to continue to do good in the community locally and on a national level, and I want to be able to build and to network. So that's one thing that I've successfully been able to do, especially with the launch of the pre-launch of Spin Within. There's so many people that have come and approached me. I met a PCI compliance guy because of that video. I've met several other people that actually was part of your organization because of that video and because of that passion and wanting to grow something and creating the next thing. I just want to continue to network as well.
Excellent, excellent. And how can people get in contact with you? How can they follow you and your endeavors on Twitter or wherever?
Well, it's Twitter, That Dude Jibril, DATDUDEJIBRIL, That Dude Jibril. I used to be called the cell phone dude, that cell phone dude. So I'm That Dude Jibril. On Facebook, you can check out my public figure page, which is Mr. Jibril Sulaiman. So Facebook.com/Mr. MrJibril Sulaiman, Mr. Jibril Sulaiman. And so those are the two main ways that definitely can keep up with me.
So the pay sale systems, what about the Spin Within? When are you? What's the target date for that, or do you have one? Or?
Right now, I'm working on the website is being developed right now. I'm not playing any games about getting the website developed. So it's getting there. We're adding in the barber element so that barbershops could be able to accept payments for appointments, for haircuts, and for patrons to schedule appointments. We're adding in the section that allows a soul food restaurant, to take pre-orders for food and have those pre-orders paid for in advance. We're adding that element in that I'm excited about. We're adding in a social function, a social mechanism in the back end. So if you sign up as a seller within Spend Within, then you're going to have a Facebook-style interface for you to talk to you'll be also friends with other sellers that have signed up to Spend Within, so we can create an incubator within Spend Within, a exchange of ideas among those sellers also. So we're building all of that into the system. I'm going to Black Enterprise. I'll be at the conference, and hopefully I'm going to be one of the finalists to pitch my idea, to talk to some angels, some seed investors, because ultimately I do want to launch this with 500,000 at least behind us, pushing us for the marketing and really solidifying the architecture that has been coded in. And so that's what I'm definitely excited about. So hopefully by second quarter, the end of second quarter, we can have a successful launch to the public, because, of course, we want to beta test and sign up as many sellers as we can before we officially launch to the public. So hopefully end of second quarter of this year, so by June, July of this year.
Excellent. Like I said, keep us informed, and once it's launched and everything like that, maybe we can. Last
thing, go to Spend Within, spendwith.in, so spendwith.in, and just put your email address into the form, and we will definitely do a blast when we get ready to pre-launch, or we get ready to beta test and then do the official launch. We'll have your email ready to send it out. So anybody that's listening, definitely go to the site and add your email to the list as well.
Excellent. And like I said, definitely keep Black Technology informed. We definitely like to have you back on the show once it's launched and once it picks up some traction, and we can circle back and find out, how you're doing in that business and how everything is going. So definitely appreciate you coming on here and sharing your story with us and sharing your experiences. I guess that's it for this episode. Thanks a lot, Jibril, and best wishes on your future.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody, that's it for this episode of the Blacks in Technology Big Tech Talk podcast. Thanks to all of our listeners. Thanks to our guest, Jibril Sulaiman. Stay tuned for another great Big Tech Talk podcast. In about 2 weeks, we will be joined by Nina Okuku of Venture Game Legal and Black Founders. I know you all have heard of Black Founders, but we're going to be discussing Bitcoin and what you need to know legally. I know we did a Bitcoin discussion or podcast a couple of months ago. It dealt mainly with the technical side of it. We're going to deal with the legal side of it. So that's going to be on, the 26th, I believe. So February 26th, 9 p.m., same tech time, same tech channel. Join us then. And remember, tech yourself before you wreck yourself. Take care and have a good night.
Blacks in Technology.
Blacks in Technology. Blacks in Technology. Blacks in Technology. Blacks in Technology. Blacks in Technology.